So my time in Iraq and Afghanistan was with the CIA. I was a GRS agent from 2002 to 2005. After 9/11, when I was with the Marshal service when 9/11 happened, and then got recruited by the CIA.
Walk me through that story, because you talked about it in your book. When 9/11 hit, you were U.S. Marshal at the time?
I was a U.S. Marshal in the District of Southern District of Texas down in Corpus Christi. Now,
Which is where I was born. Actually.
Is it really?
Yeah.
My wife's from Corpus Christi as well, which is significant, and this is why people are like, oh, he's just saying that shit because his wife is cracking the whip. Not at all. Not at all. I love my wife. She's my best friend. But this was something that I'll never forget. So my partner and I were heading to Arizona to pick up a prisoner. All right. We have a plane transfer in Houston. We're walking to the next gate, and you see everyone crowded around televisions, and it's like, what the hell is going on? We go over the television, and you see it. And I was like, holy shit! One of the trade centers is on fire, and just about that time, the second plane hits the second tower.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at my partner. I said, "We're going to war. We're going to war." And it's like, okay, they shut down the airports. All right. So now you have, this is Houston Hobby, and you have the the airport police trying to get everyone out of the terminals. And people are arguing with him. He's like, hey, I got my flight ticket. He's like, what do you understand? They shut down the air. Nothing is flying. And so I tell my partner, I said, listen, let's help them. So I go and I tell him, I say, hey, listen, Deputy U.S. Marshals, we'll help you with these knuckleheads that just don't get it. And so we start working everybody out of the terminals. It's like, look, you guys got to go. I got a meeting over there. It's like, there's nothing leaving. The air is shut down. We just got attacked. We're going to war. Get out. Now, go. All right? So we finally clear the terminals, and now it's like everybody waiting to get a taxi to get somewhere. And so we come out of the terminal, and there's this huge mob of people waiting for the taxis. And I tell my partner, I say, hey, let's stand over here. And she's like, well, why? And I said, look, it's a terrorist attack. It's 100%. They've been attacking the shit out of us since since before I was in the Navy. You look at Beirut, right? The barracks bombings. You look at 92, the first trade center bombings, right? They just have. They've just been after us. And frankly, I can see a car bomb coming up and setting itself off and wiping all those people out. So we're going to stand over here behind this pillar and wait patiently.
And you had a prisoner still at the time, right?
We didn't make it to Arizona to pick up our prisoner.
Oh, okay. You're on your way to go.
We were on our way to get there and bring him back to Texas. So another interesting thing that was wild, because people act like, hey, everyth's fine. Nobody hates us. We're America. Everyone wants to come here. But deep down, they know that there are factions out there that want to see our destruction. And here's why I say that. Okay. Because every taxi driver that pulled up that looked like they were from the Middle East, no one would get in their car. Nobody.
Instant.
I'm watching this. I'm watching this, So this is, I already did 3 deployments with Team 4 all over South and Central America. I already did my 4 years with Dev Group, doing their shit. And now I'm with the Marshal Service. And so I already know. I already know what's going on. And we're fighting the war on terror before it was the war on terror. And I'm seeing this. And so deep down, even back then, people knew. It's like, look, these countries, and I'm not saying those taxi drivers were combatants or that they wanted to do us harm, but deep down, the people refused to get in their taxis because they look like they're from the Middle East. This was before even anything came out on the news on who attacked us. And they did not get in their car. Refused to get in their taxi.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we make our way to the station in Houston, the Marshal station in Houston, and we borrow a car and we drive back to Corpus, and put everything away, and tell them, it's like, hey, this is what happened. So, and I immediately get on the phone because I'm still in the reserves. I'm a first class. I'm a 18 Delta trained medic, corpsman, and still in the reserves. I'm a E6 for those who don't know what a first class is, and I'm calling SEAL Team 4 reserves. I'm like, hey, when are you activating us? We're going to war. Like, we're not activating anybody, but you could re-enlist. And I didn't know enough about the reserves.
Mm-hmm. Why'd you call back to 4 instead of Deb Group?
Because I belonged to SEAL Team 4's reserve unit.
Oh, okay. All
right. Demnick doesn't have a reserve unit. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they have one now. I don't think they do, but they because again,
mm-hmm.
SEAL Team 6, I can't talk about that. Anyways, they didn't have a reserve unit, so not like how we have it now. Mm-hmm. Back then, the reserves, each command had their own little reserve. Like SDV Team 2 had the reserve unit. SEAL Team 4 had the reserves unit. I think SEAL Team 1 had a reserve unit, and you had to attach to them. Mm-hmm. Okay, so back then, when you screened for the command, you had to have at least 2 deployments under your belt and had at least 3 years in the teams to qualify to screen. Okay, and then they had separate screenings. You had a screening for the assault team, and you had a screening for gray team, because they wanted to get SEALs back in the boats over there, because they just needed that mentality in the boats. I screened for the assault team. I got picked up for the assault team. All right. It's time to go to green team, and the XO at SEAL Team 4 is like, hey, we just got this letter from SEAL Team 6 that says, hey, you could keep any essential personnel at your command that's slated to come to this green team, because the Gulf War just started, and our participation in that war is minimal, so you could keep everyone you want. And I'm like, well, so what are you saying? He's like, so well, you're a Spanish speaker, you're a corpsman. I'm like, well, I really don't speak Spanish that well. I'm getting better. And they're like, no, you're staying here at Team 4. I'm like, we're not fighting in the first Gulf War. SEAL Team 4, we're regional, South and Central America and the Caribbean. He goes, yeah, but you're a Spanish speaker and you're a corpsman. So bend over, relax and clear your ears, and get ready to take it. So you're not going to green team. I'm like, motherfucker, all right, put me in a platoon, deploy again. So I do that deployment. I come back, and it's like, okay, green team or 18 Delta. And back then, this is the 90s now. So if you weren't an independent duty corpsman, then you weren't going to promote to chief. All right. So going to 18 Delta, I would be Special Forces or Special SOF independent duty corpsman. So I call over to the command, and I'm like talking to all my sea daddies over there that are corpsmen as well. And I was like, hey, look, will SEAL Team 6 send me to 18 Delta? It's like, yeah, after you do your 3 years, after you do your time in an assault team, you had to earn schools back then. You had to earn them. And so I'm like, well, shit. And everyone I talk to is like, look, we're always going to be here. Go to 18 Delta. It's going to be good for your career. And I'm glad I did, because when I went to 18 Delta, that's when I met my wife. Right. So I'm in San Antonio, and I had family down in Corpus Christi, and would go and visit them, and they were friends of my wife's parents, and that's how her and I met. And so I finished 18 Delta, which is about a year-long course, and I forget the whole idea of going to SEAL Team 6. And I'm going to go back to Team 4, and I'm at the quarterdeck. It's like, yeah, man, so-and-so was just here, and, he's looking for guys, and give him a call. And so I call him. He's like, yeah, no, your screening's still good. Call Jay Sawyer. He's the Master Chief. So I called Jay, and I'm like, hey, I hear, I screened. It's been a while, but, are you still interested in me? He's like, yeah, what do you think of boats? And I'm like, Jay, can I call you back? So I call all my buddies over there again, and they're like, look, you say no to Jay, you're never coming over here. You go do your time in the boats, and then come to this ultimate afterwards. And so I'm like, all right, Jay, I'll go. So that's how I ended up going to Great Team and doing the boats. And I'm glad in some aspects I'm glad I did it. In some aspects I'm not. And the aspects that I'm glad I did it was I learned a new skill. And these boats, it's not Swick. All right, I don't want people to think it's these rubber boats with the big old inflatable spots and bumper boats. So it's like, oh, I'm not gonna break shit. No, these are open ocean, high speed assault craft. Going 70, 90 miles an hour. I mean, our cruising speed was 45 knots, and it didn't matter sea states, and we would just get after it. Right, get after it. Destroyed my. There's no seats. Right, it's a bolster. You lean up against it, and that's why my knees are shot. That's why my spine is shot. We would take hits so hard that we'd pass out, right? And I'd wake up down on the bottom, down in the gunnel, right, and holding onto the steering wheel, and then I'd come through and stand back up and keep driving. Right?
Jesus.
Just stupid, just stupid. But yeah, they take a lot of life out of you. So in that aspect, how hard it is on our body. I wish I would have been smarter to take the precautions and wear the compression stuff and things while I was out there on the boat. But if you're going to be hard, you got to be stupid, right? So back to Corpus. So I'm with the Marshal Service, and I'm calling Team 4, and they're like, no, you can re-enlist, and I'm like, well, I'll lose my job with the Marshals. And I waited 2 years. And this is what I'm saying. I didn't educate myself enough to know that I actually could have reenlisted and stayed in for 5 more years, and the Marshals would have had to have held my job for me. I didn't know that because again, I didn't educate myself. I didn't read the fine print. And so I called the Marines, and I'm like, hey man, I'm a corpsman. I know we're going to war, because this is about getting to war. We're going to war. We're getting attacked again. We're going to war, and gotta go. They said the same thing. Man, we'd love to have you. Yeah, absolutely. 18 Delta Medic. Yeah, we're gonna go, but we're not activating anybody. And this is where I learned about, and it's in the book too. Tip of the spear. It's not what you think. Talking about authorities and permissions, and the reason they weren't activating anybody is because Congress hadn't approved any authorities for the military to start activating reservists to go to war. Right? That's a process that has to happen in order to
Actually send the troops.
right.
How long does that usually take? How long did it take for the 9/11?
It took a bit,
right?
It did.
Yeah, because they didn't start deploying till like a year later, or was it 9 months, or something like that?
It took a while. It took a while. I think some of the Army units, some of the other units were able to get approved faster. I think, but the soft units, the special forces units, and I'm speculating. I'm just going off of when I saw them starting to mobilize people, starting to get those authorities and permissions to bring people out of their civilian job and bringing them back active duty and going and doing things, and then coming back. And so I'm all boo-boo lipped. I'm still here as a marshal, doing my job. Still watching shit now. It's like, who's all these people taking pictures of the courthouse, right? What's going on? And for all those folks, it's like, it's my right. I could take pictures. Like, look, put yourself in my shoes, right? We just got attacked. They use bombs. They use car bombs. They use vests. And I'm not supposed to go and ask somebody, hey, why are you taking pictures of where I work? What is so cool about this square building with brick around it that you have to take pictures, right? That you're hanging out.
They do that everywhere.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's my constitutional right. It's like, well, okay, you know what? And I would say that I have a constitutional right for self-defense. Why do I have to wait for someone to attack me to just investigate and ask? And that's why I want people to understand. It's like, put yourself in someone else's shoes before you're so quick to say, oh, what do you mean I can't take pictures? It's my right. I can take pictures. This is the sidewalk. I could use the sidewalk. My taxpayer dollars, all this stuff. It's like, okay, yeah, but you know what? You're not putting your life on the line. Put your life on the line. Go to another country. Get shot at. Let people try to blow you up. come home and see if you think the same way.
If you like this content, please subscribe. That'll help us be able to get more sponsors so we can pump out more episodes.
Guys, look at me. Shawn needs you. I know he looks like tough and cool, but he like cries a lot. He goes, if I don't get a Slim Jim membership, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay rent. I'm like, Shawn, you have another job. You're just spending too much money on, those tight shirts. Cut your shirt budget. But yeah, like and subscribe.